see if I can illustrate this a little bit different. I'm going to ask Mark. Mark, will you stand up here beside me? Now, Mark and Debbie and their daughter Kim, they've been coming to our church for a while. Most of you guys have met Mark. Handshaking time. He's a nice guy. Shakes hands, smiles at you. And if you were to see him out, you'd say, oh, that's Mark. That's the guy we go to church with. Unless you encountered him at his day job. You might encounter him at his day job if you're going down I-70 and you're breaking the speed limit. And all of a sudden in your rearview mirror you see blue lights flashing on behind you in a gray state trooper's car. And you pull over and you see the car pull over and you see a big intimidating officer get out of the car with that broad-brimmed hat and that pressed uniform come walking up. And all of a sudden there's a fear that strikes deep in your heart. Because you know that man has some power. And that man has some authority because of his position. And if you have violated the law, he can write you a ticket. And you might encounter Trooper Barrett. And all of a sudden, your understanding of who he is has changed dramatically. From the nice guy at church who smiles and doesn't say much. Thank you, Mark. Now, you understand, people are trying to present a Jesus that is not a full representation of who he is. You see, there's a whole group of people who just want to present him as a good guy. As a guy who can make your life better. He's simply an ingredient in life that can improve your life. But that's a partial understanding of who he is. He is God. All the fullness of the Godhead bodily dwells in him bodily. That ending statement in verse 10 says, which is the head of all principality and power. Those terms, principality and power, talk about ruling and rulers. The authority to rule and the authorities that do rule. And what Paul is declaring is that Jesus Christ, even though he never sat on a throne while he was on the earth, but he hung on a cross. He never lived in a palace. He didn't even have a home to call his own. He wasn't escorted by a royal guard, but he traveled by foot and at times by mule. Is actually over and above all kingdoms, all governments, all rulers, and all authority. He is the head of all principality and power. There is none that has dominion over him, but he has dominion over all. As a matter of fact, 1 Timothy chapter 6, I believe it's around verse 15, says he is the only potentate. That's ruler of great authority. King of kings. That is sovereign ruler of sovereign rulers. And Lord of lords. And that means supreme of all supremacy. The emphasis is being made that Christ is above all. Christ excels all. Christ's authority trumps all. And you know, this was a radical and extreme statement to be made at this point in time.